My name is Rylee. I am 21 years old, and I am a videographer. So my formal education, I am about to graduate the TV Broadcast and Independent Productions program at Conestoga College, and prior to that, I took Media Foundations at Conestoga College and earned a diploma from that. From grade 9 to grade 12, I took a course called Communications Technology, and it was more of a general media course, but a lot of focus was on specifically video. Also in grade 11 and 12, I took a film class in high school, and in grade 11, I also took a photography class, so I've been doing this for quite some time. My personal favorite fact to share is I was a theater kid.
Would you say that that helped you in your career nowadays?
Oh, absolutely. So theater and things like videography, movies, and television, they are very much two separate animals, but at the same time, there is quite a bit of overlap. While I was an actor, I was witnessing firsthand kind of the organization that went into producing a show. You know, you have to plan your shoots, you have to plan what you're shooting, how you're shooting, you have to plan how you're gonna kind of edit the thing, you have to plan before you do any of that. So the planning aspect of it, they definitely have overlap, and it has helped. I find once going from theater to film is a little bit easier than the reversal, so it's definitely helped with being on camera as well. I honestly cannot quite pinpoint exactly where it started. I have always just had a fascination for movies, TV shows, even commercials. I don't know what it was about me. I could remember a commercial, I could remember full scenes of a movie, and I could always remember how people were positioned and were framed and the costuming. I always just had that knack for it. On one blessed Christmas, I was gifted a crappy blue little video camera that flipped out and you turned it on. And I just went ham. I would get my friends and we'd record little skits. I would get like my dolls, Barbies, Monster High dolls, and make them do things. And eventually, I upgraded to an iPod Touch. And on the iPod Touch, there was something called Video Star. And I just went for it by myself, with friends. I got my stuffed animals involved. I was making art here. Of course, from there, went to high school, learned how to properly do these things, and then went to college and further learned how to properly do it. So yeah, it all started with a terrible blue video camera, a group of my friends, and some dolls. So for me, a lot of the tools I use right now are courtesy of the college. So we are using Nikon DSLR cameras, we're using standard tripods, we're using Zoom recorders. Those are really great, those help a lot. In terms of editing software, I'm using Adobe products. I use After Effects and Premiere Pro almost exclusively, but I sometimes also dabble in Photoshop and Audition when I need to finesse something a little bit more. In terms of pre-production, I just use Google Docs or sometimes even Google Slides, Google Spreadsheets, that kind of stuff. My laptop is an Asus laptop, which has just a little bit more RAM than most laptops, so that helps with programs like Premiere and After Effects. So yeah. I would say a big inspiration for myself would be, as much as I don't like them as a corporation, a lot of Disney movies are a big inspiration, specifically Pixar movies. Pixar just has a way of conveying really great themes and great stories, and they're things that you would think sound ridiculous, like something like Ratatouille. It's about a rat who wants to be a chef. That sounds so stupid on paper, but they managed to just take that simple idea and they turned it into something amazing. Another big inspiration to a certain extent is DreamWorks, specifically the Shrek movies. The way they kind of went against the grain, especially at the time they released, they were really something you didn't expect. And that's something that I want my content to do, is I want to give the unexpected, but at the same time have a lot of heart put into it, a lot of passion put into it. I am a person in this industry where obviously I would love to make money. Who doesn't want to make money? But at the end of the day, I'm in this industry because it's a huge passion of mine, and studios like that are huge inspirations. I am very inspired by just Steven Spielberg as a director. He never gave up, and because he loved what he was doing and said, no, we're gonna figure out a way to make this work. And he made it work, and they're some of the most iconic movies of all time. So to start, I would say you don't need that much money. Now, it's not in the sense of you don't need much money. I more so mean like you still have to invest a little bit. You could just get a very basic digital video camera for like $100 and just go from there.
What would you say for yourself is a big motivation killer, and how do you keep that at bay when it actually starts to, when your productivity just drops off?
For myself, I have ADHD, and I also have a hormonal depressive disorder and an anxiety disorder. And the three of those love to strike at once. So those are huge motivation killers. Specifically, the culmination of all three has developed into a sense sometimes of kind of a toxic perfectionism. And I really struggle to just start something because in my head, all I can think is, oh my God, but like I can't perfectly envision it in my head, therefore like it's worthless. A really big thing to get me back up is, you know, if I'm feeling really bad and I'm like, oh, I really need to keep working on a project, or I really need to get started on a project, sometimes I'll just take a shower, and that alone is like, okay, I feel good. I can start doing things now. I have so many ideas rattling around in this cranium, and I want to do all of them all at once. So really just narrowing down an idea, and for me, at this point, just doing the more realistic stuff, like just kind of working within what I have. And I think about what I can do, and I go, well, let's do that, because I can really put my all into this. This is something I can do. And especially, you need to be passionate about what you're doing. If you're not really feeling the passion, you need to kind of switch it up in some ways. Now, obviously, if you're doing something for a client or something like that, obviously you can't just be like, yeah, your idea sucks, I'm not gonna do it. You have to go through with it. I've done projects at a placement where I didn't really care for what I was doing. Like, it'd be an orientation video for like a company, or it would be a promotional thing for a company, like a little advertisement. I didn't really care for that, but what I found helped me get through it and kind of sparked my creativity was trying to find the purpose in it, if that makes sense. Thinking about, what do I want people to get out of this piece? Regardless of how I feel about it, the target audience, what do I want them to get out of it? If I can make this something really positive and I can really make it appeal to that audience, it helps a lot with getting through projects that might be a bit of a slog to get through. My process for starting, that's a good question, because I don't really have a polished way of starting. I think the big thing that people need to remember in this industry, and I remind myself this too, people aren't gonna see the first draft. As maybe mundane as it sounds, is just do it. It sounds kind of simple and like, well, no, there's clearly more to it. No, just do it. Just get the idea down. Just do that first, and you can hit the ground running. Just like a very popular band from the 90s has once said. Don't worry about what equipment you have. Don't worry about what resources you have. Just grab friends, grab family, get your stuffed animals, get your toys, just use yourself, like allow yourself to make those mistakes. And of course, accept criticism. When you get criticism, that's gonna elevate your work. That's gonna make your work so much better. Don't be afraid to look online. Don't be afraid of looking up people who talk about big budget movies. There are a lot of great video essay YouTubers that break down movies, and they talk about things like the writing style, or they talk about how like the themes are presented. They talk about some technical things. They'll talk about lighting. There's a lot of great YouTubers out there that talk specifically about sound, about visuals, camera work. Go watch some of those and apply that with the resources you have. It'll do wonders for you. My favorite part, oh man. I don't know if I could narrow it down to a single thing, but I know one of my favorite things is shoot days. Being on set or just gathering people and, you know, creating something. If you're in the perspective of like a director and you're watching the stuff back and you're like, you know, oh, did that look good? Obviously, you want it to be the best it can be, but at the same time, it gets you really excited because it just makes you excited to go put it all together. Like, you can see these amazing shots and you can, you know, these amazing, like, takes that people do that are either really funny or just really profound, and you're so excited to just start piecing them together. I really like that aspect about it. The way I stay consistent, I would say, is just taking it one day at a time. It can be hard to do that sometimes, especially if you're like me and, you know, you're a student and you have deadlines, you have multiple classes. Even with that, the biggest thing is just take it one day at a time and just chip away at it. Just one day at a time. Let's say for a documentary, you have your interview, you have your B-roll, whole 9 yards. So just take one day, just go through your interviews, extract all the bites, all the like answers you want, all the good stuff. Take a day and do that. And then the next day, go through all your B-roll. That's a really good shot. I like how this looked. And just put it all together and just get it all down. Obviously, that's not going to be exact for every single thing. It depends on project to project, fiction, nonfiction, how long the piece is, but ultimately just take it one day at a time and just make sure, even if it's not a lot of progress, just chip away at it. I would say the biggest thing that aids me in the process is taking breaks. In this industry, you spend a lot of time in front of screens. When you're editing, you're hunched over, staring at a screen. When you're on a shoot, you're staring at a screen. When even just pre-production, when you're typing everything out, you're staring at usually at a computer screen. You need to take a break and take time away, especially a person like me. I enjoy my time watching movies. I like watching TV shows. I like watching content creators on YouTube. I like, you know, going on social media and seeing what's going on in the world. I like playing video games. Like, I am staring at screens all the time. And I think the biggest thing to keep motivation up is to just go outside for a little bit. Or even just do a word search, a crossword, a Sudoku puzzle. Take a walk. Go touch some grass. I realize that sounds kind of like a joke, but I'm being dead serious. To maintain my concentration, I always like to have instrumental jazz music. Why jazz? I don't know. I just find it works the best. For me, it very much is just a very neutral sound without just being white noise. It's pleasant white noise, if you will. And that just helps me so my mind doesn't wander off. It keeps me grounded and focused, and I can keep chugging away at whatever I'm doing.
Well, last but not least, the most loaded question of them all. What makes your art unique?
I think what makes my art unique is I am someone who likes to kind of push the boundaries of what we know about film. When I create stuff, when I create videos, whatever it may be, if it's a music video project, if it's a documentary, if it's a short series, if it's a short movie, whatever it may be, I always want there to be a little stank on it, if that makes sense. I need that just pop of uniqueness, and it looks different piece to piece. A lot of the times it comes up in the form of humor. I consider myself a very humorous person. I enjoy comedy a lot. Am I good at comedy? Up for debate, but I always try to integrate it just a little bit in everything that I do, because the way I see it is, you know, media is supposed to be entertaining, and while it's important to have very grounded and serious stuff, at the same time, it can't be like that all the way through, because then you just leave really bummed out. There's got to be a little bit of lightheartedness and a little bit of laughter in there, so I always try to integrate that. But generally speaking, I always just want to integrate in some capacity a way that I stand out. And I try to do that in everything that I do. I think what I'd like to say just in closing, at the end of the day, whether it's you want to make movies, you want to make TV shows, YouTube content, whatever you want to make, entertainment is meant to entertain. And you can look at some of the worst movies that are ever made, but they entertained somebody. So do you, do it in your style, and it's okay if people don't get it, because there's so many elements at play with this kind of thing, with any sort of video production, nonfiction, fiction, whatever genre, it doesn't matter. There are so many layers that go into it, so many layers of pre-production, of production, post-production. That is a mountain when it comes to post-production. But there are so many elements at play that you will never create something absolutely perfect. So don't think about, oh, is it perfect? Just think about, am I enjoying myself in whatever way I'm supposed to? Am I enjoying what I'm creating? And as long as you're enjoying it and other people enjoy it, then that's all that matters. I'm Rylee, and this is Highlights. Ooh, reaching back! Where the fuck it at? Where my people at? Where my people at? Where my people at? It's like a cardinal sin in this industry is to be forgettable. At least be so shit that people think about you.